The airport lounge was tense. Luxury surrounded everything. Soft lighting, quiet music, expensive suits. At the center of it all, a furious Arab billionaire stood, ready to leave. His voice echoed sharply. "This is unacceptable," he said in Arabic. Staff stood frozen. No one dared respond. A deal had just collapsed. Millions. Gone in a moment. He grabbed his coat. "I'm leaving," he said coldly. Panic spread quickly. Executives whispered. Assistants rushed. Because if he walked out, everything would fall apart. Near the corner, a single dad sat quietly with his young daughter. His name was Samir. He wasn't part of the deal. Just a traveler, waiting for his delayed flight. His 6-year-old daughter swung her legs gently, watching everything with curiosity. "Dad, why is that man angry?" she whispered. Samir glanced over. "Sometimes adults forget how to stay calm," he said softly. The little girl frowned. "He looks sad," she said. Samir didn't respond. But she kept watching. The billionaire turned, walking toward the exit. Each step, final, destructive. "Sir, please wait," an executive called. But he didn't stop. That's when something unexpected happened. A small voice echoed behind him. The entire lounge froze. The billionaire stopped mid-step. Slowly, he turned around. Because the words, clear, respectful, perfect Arabic, came from a child. A 6-year-old girl. She stood there. Small, calm, fearless. Samir's daughter. The billionaire's eyes narrowed slightly. "Who said that?" he asked in Arabic. The girl stepped forward, holding her father's hand. "I did," she said softly. Silence spread across the room. Because no one expected this. No one understood how. The billionaire walked closer. Curious now. "You speak Arabic?" he asked. She nodded. "My dad taught me," she said proudly. All eyes turned to Samir. The single dad remained calm. But the moment had shifted. Completely. "Why did you ask me not to leave?" the billionaire asked. The little girl looked up at him. Innocent, honest. "Because when people leave angry, they take the problem with them," she said. The words hit differently. Simple. But deep. The billionaire stared at her. Speechless. Because in that moment, a child had just said something. No executive in that room dared to say. The lounge fell completely silent. Even the staff stopped moving. The Arab billionaire looked down at the little girl. His anger paused, not gone, but interrupted. "And what do you think I should do?" he asked in Arabic. The girl held his gaze. "Sit," she said gently. A few people exchanged shocked glances. No one spoke to him like that. Not in meetings. Not in negotiations. But she wasn't afraid. "Why?" he asked. She thought for a moment. "Because when my dad gets upset," she said. "He sits first, then decides." The billionaire's eyes flickered. Just slightly. He looked at Samir. The single dad stood quietly. Not interfering. Not controlling the moment. Just watching his daughter. "You taught her this?" the billionaire asked. Samir nodded. "I try," he said simply. A pause. The billionaire looked back at the girl. "And does it work?" he asked. She smiled. "Most of the time," she said. A faint reaction crossed his face. Not quite a smile. But close. The tension in the room shifted. Not gone. but softer. The billionaire glanced toward the exit. Then back at her. You don't understand what's at stake, he said. The girl nodded. I don't, she admitted. That honesty. Unexpected. But I know something, she added. He leaned slightly closer. What? He asked. She spoke gently. If people are trying to fix something, and you leave. A pause. They can't. The word settled into the room. Simple. Clear. And impossible to ignore. The billionaire exhaled slowly. For the first time since the argument. He wasn't speaking. He was thinking. He looked at the executives. Nervous, waiting. Then back at the girl. What's your name? He asked. Lena, she replied. He nodded. And you think I should give them another chance, Lena? She tilted her head slightly. I think, she said carefully. You should decide after you're calm. Silence again. But this time. It felt different. Less tense. More, human. The billionaire straightened slowly. Then. To everyone's surprise. He walked back toward the seating area. Gasps spread quietly. Because this. Was not expected. He sat down. Right there. In the middle of the lounge. Executives looked at each other. Uncertain. Then rushed forward carefully. Sir, thank you, one of them said. He raised his hand. Stopping him. I'm not doing this for you, he said. His eyes moved toward Lena. I'm doing this, he added quietly. Because she reminded me of something I forgot. The room stayed still. Because whatever came next would change everything, the lounge stayed quiet. But the tension had transformed. The Arab billionaire leaned back in his seat. His anger hadn't vanished. But it no longer controlled him. He looked at Lena again. The small girl who had stopped him. You said I should decide when I'm calm, he said in Arabic. She nodded. Yes, she replied softly. A pause. Then stay, he said. Lena blinked. Why? She asked. Because I want you to hear my decision, he answered. Her small hand tightened around her father's. Samir remained quiet. But watchful. The billionaire turned to the executives. You had one job, he said calmly. They tensed immediately. And you failed, he continued. Their faces fell. But, he added. Hope flickered. I almost made a bigger mistake. Silence. He glanced toward Lena again. Walking away without listening, he said. The words carried weight. Not just for them. But for himself. He leaned forward slightly. We restart negotiations, he said. Relief flooded the room. But this time, he continued. We do it properly. No shortcuts. No pressure. Understood, he asked. Yes, sir, they replied quickly. The deal was alive again. But that wasn't the moment everyone remembered. The billionaire stood up slowly. And walked toward Lena. The room watched. Curious. He stopped in front of her. You speak well, he said in Arabic. She smiled shyly. Thank you, she replied. He nodded once. Then looked at Samir. You've raised her well, he said. Samir inclined his head slightly. I'm trying, he answered. The billionaire studied him for a moment. Then asked. What do you do? Just a traveler, Samir said calmly. A faint smile appeared on the billionaire's face. No, he said. He looked back at Lena. Then at Samir again. You're more than that. A quiet pause. Then. He did something unexpected. "Come meet me tomorrow," he said. Samir frowned slightly. "For what?" he asked. The billionaire's answer was simple. "For an opportunity," he said. Samir didn't respond immediately. Because he wasn't impressed by power. He was careful. "I don't take offers I don't understand," he replied. The billionaire respected that. "Good," he said. He reached into his pocket. And handed him a card. "Then come understand it," he added. Samir took it slowly. No excitement. Just thought. Lena looked up at her father. "Are we going?" she whispered. Samir smiled slightly. "We'll see," he said. The billionaire nodded. Almost approving. Then. He turned to leave again. But this time. Not in anger. In control. At peace. As he walked away. The room slowly returned to life. But something had changed. Because in the middle of power, money, and pressure. A 6-year-old girl had done what no one else could. She made a powerful man pause. Think. And choose differently. And sometimes. That's all it takes. To change everything.